Welcome to the Game of Craps Simulator program. And so what I'm going to teach you in this video is something that might be useful when you want to go to MGM and play games at MGM. We're going to teach you the game of craps. And it turns out that given the rules of craps, it's a game that you have the best odds in winning in the game of craps. And just to show you, without going into the rules right now, this is a program that runs simulations, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate 10,000 games of craps, and according to the rules, which apparently right now you really don't know what the rules are, but you will. 49% of the time you win, and 51% of the time you lose. So okay, that's great. That's almost half and half. And of course, the house is going to win more than you. Otherwise, it's not a game that they're going to offer, because they'll lose money. So let's do another game right here. Yes, and we'll do say 100,000 games. Let's make the computer work. Okay, and so it's getting pretty close to 50%, a little less than 50% of the time. So what are we doing here? How do we do this game simulation? Well, let me close this off first, okay? Come on. Why am I doing that? I hit the wrong button. Here we go. There you go. First off, here's the program, and I'm using the template. And the template, you have a copy of the template in your Blackboard course. And the idea behind the template is you don't have to keep restarting the program over and over again to do multiple runs of your logic. Okay, and just quickly going over the template, the template includes a section where you go ahead and you can type in your name, date, course number, all the information I ask you to put in a program. It automatically has a scanner. Okay, the only thing that you need to do when you start programming with the template is to rename the class and give it a nice title. Okay, craft simulation. And the rest of this stuff you don't really need. This stuff you don't change. This is stuff I added. You're free to add whatever you want to the simulator or to your program, but you're going to be able to put as many methods as you need to get the job done. Now remember, this is basically a program in methods. I want to show you how methods work. And you don't change the main method. Okay, basically the main method is written so that I create a scanner for you, and you keep doing something while you decide you don't want to do it again. Say you're going to start programming your code within the process method, and this process method is going to automatically get an open scanner, so you don't have to worry about creating your own scanner. It's done for you, and whatever arguments were sent to the program gets passed here, but we haven't done too much with arguments, so we're not going to worry about that now. Okay, and so don't change the main method, don't do this again. What you're going to do is start coding your logic here. And so now we're going to talk about the game of craps. Now, even at this point, we really don't need to know about how you play it. Okay? Because at this level, you're saying, well, how many games do you want to play? Well, enter some number, 10,000, 100,000. Make sure you clear your keyboard, because this clears the keyboard. Because that's the only thing I want. The only thing that this program requires is an entry of the number of games you want to play. So I grabbed it. This clears the keyboard. Very important, otherwise it screws up asking the question, do you want to do this again? It screws up down here. So clear your keyboard. Now, I have a variable called one count. Okay, I'm going to play this many games. If I typed in 1,000, I'm going to have a for loop that says, okay, play 10,000 games. And the root of the problem is this method right here called play craps. Now, play craps plays one game of craps, and it returns whether you won or lost. Okay. Coincidentally, the word won also sounds like the number one. So what I did was up here, I created some constants. Lost is 0, 1 is 1, makes sense. And then I needed another variable, continue. So you got to give it a different value. So this is basically the states of a craps game. You either won, lost, or you keep rolling the dice. That's continuing. So at this level, do you really, we're going to need to know what the rules for craps are to write that program, but it either returns won or lost. And if you won, I increment my little variable called one count. And then I calculate the average, where I take the one count, divide it by games. Okay, so, and then multiply by 100% to get the 100 to get 100%, and then I print out the answer. Okay, now comes the fun part. How do you play the game of craps? Well, the game of craps requires 2 dice. The pit manager hands you 2 dice. You shake them, you roll them against the wall, and then numbers come out. So if you have 2 dice, you're going to roll anywhere from a 2 to a 12 in terms of a value when you add up the dice values that get displayed on the when you see depending on how they land. Okay, now on the first roll, if you get a 7 or an 11, okay, on the first roll, if you get a 7 or 11, you won it. You're done. You're good to go. If you get a 2, 3, or a 12 on the first roll, then you lost. Otherwise, like say the number 4. Say you get the number 4. Game status is continued. In other words, the pit boss gives you the dice back, and he asks you to roll them again. And what happens is, if you dealt a number 4 on the first roll, that's your point value. And what happens then is you keep rolling the dice over and over and over again until either you get the point value, either you roll a 4 again, meaning you hit your point value, you won, or if you get a 7, you lose. Okay, and see, 7 takes on 2 values. 7, in one case you win, and then if you get a 7, you lose. But you only win on the first roll. After the first roll, you will lose if you generate a 7. So that's why we need another variable. We'll keep rolling those dice. See, I have another method called roll dice right over here, which simulates the idea of rolling a couple of dice. Okay, so let's take a look. Play craps. Returns integer. Basically, I may have typed as lost or won, but these are numbers. Okay, so it's going to return some kind of number. On the first roll, I switch on that value. 7 or 11, I won. 2, 3, or 12, you lose. If it's any other number like a 4 or a 6, you continue rolling the dice, and your point value is the value of the first roll, which is 4 or 6 or whatever. Now you stay within this loop, rolling dice, until the sum of the dice is either your point value, where you win, or you lose by rolling a 7. Either way, what happens is if game status has the value of won or lost, it's certainly, when you come up to the while loop, it's certainly going to not be the value. Continue. You exit out of the loop, line 61 comes out. Okay, so we return the value won or lost. And then the next method that we're going to look at is rolling the dice. And you may remember that in Chapter 4, I believe, we had this random number generator where we have this value math.random. Math.random returns a number between 0. It could be 0, but it'll never be 1. Multiply that by 6, that'll be an expression that's a 0 to 6, but not quite 6. It never hits 6. If I do the integer of that, okay, strip the decimal points, what you'll get is the number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. But we have to add 1 to that because there's, you could have a side of the dice that has one little pip. They call those little dots pips. So that's my first dice, my second die, return the values, and that's the game of craps. And as you can see, it's a fairly fair game for you to play. Let's do 1,000,000. Okay, there's 1,000,000 games. It's going through that. Basically, that I'm going to call that play dice or play craps method 1,000,000 times. 49.3% of the time you're going to win. Okay, so now that you know about the game of craps, go to MGM and win yourself a bundle. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.